Are you an upcoming entrepreneur or author? Have you been looking for direction and know that God has more for you? Hi, my name is Quinona Guilford, aka Mrs. Q. Becoming is a podcast about entrepreneurs and authors, trials and tribulations. We always see them rise. Here we will hear them overcome. There is a power in every story. Welcome. I am absolutely so excited of today's podcast guest. It is many people have enjoyed her treats, but today we get to learn about her process and the things that's behind the scenes with Mark It with a B. We have the one and only Brenda Smith.
Hello, happy to be here.
We're super excited to have you. We know that you have touched my family with your treats. But the interesting thing, just hearing some of your story, that you didn't just start off with whoopie pies. Now that's who you were known by. But what was your first product?
The first product with Market with the B was whoopie pies.
Oh, okay, so it was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the first product that you done.
It's not the first thing I've ever baked, but as a business,
It
yes.
was Market with the B.
But yeah, as myself, just before this was ever thought of, people wanted me to actually cheesecakes was the first thing I ever really did and sold, and that was years ago when I was married. I am not now. But who knew? But oh gosh, I was 25, so literally about 25 years ago. I love cheesecake, so I figured out how to make a really good rich cheesecake. That's why my cheesecake, I don't make it a lot, but it's very good because I'm very good at it. I've been doing it for too long. But and I was working at this rehabilitation place. And I think I brought it in for a party or something. And then people went cuckoo and was like, can you make one? And it got to the point where I was doing 5 and 6 cheesecakes a night. So I'm going working a full day, coming home, and cheesecakes take a minute because you got to bake them, and they don't bake for like 30 minutes. They bake. Well, some people don't know that you got to bake them, but you do. the rich, New York style cheesecake.
Right.
So anyway, all that said, it got overwhelming after a few weeks, and then I said, "Okay, I'm not doing it anymore," and I stopped. So that was my first foray into baking and charging people something, and I wasn't charging them nothing. I had to learn better after a while with Market with the B because you don't want to charge, because I don't like. That's never been a thing that I like to do. As a matter of fact, I know you're probably going to get to it, but before all of this, I worked in the human services field, nonprofits. So I've worked in nonprofits for almost all of my life. So therefore, I've never been interested in, in making money like that. Because if you work in a nonprofits, that's not your first process. So that being said, charging people has been difficult, but I had to go, okay, Brenda, this is a business. You got to actually make a little bit. You ain't got to hurt them, but you got to at least pay for your stuff, the stuff it takes to make the cake or the whoopie pies or whatever it is. So yeah, but cheesecake started it off ages ago though, with me baking, but I bake cakes and everything for people when they requested it, holidays generally and stuff like that. Birthdays, and then the whoopie pies became a thing, and then it became a business.
Yeah, so let's slow it down just a little bit because it's a lot of stuff in between what you just said. I first met you at an event when I didn't even know what whoopie pies was.
Right.
And me and my daughter, we tried them, and we were like, "Oh my goodness, what is this? Like, this is so good." You can't even describe the experience with whoopie pies.
Oh.
But later in life, we worked together for a couple of months, and you were working for the nonprofit, and I got the chance to, from the side view, because I can't say it's up front view, to see you transition from work, because it looked like you love what you do, for doing that to becoming a full-time entrepreneur, because
Right.
a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs. And so how did you handle how did you handle transitioning from working full-time, or into becoming a full-time entrepreneur?
Well, if I'm being honest, COVID had a whole lot to do with that because I was working full time and then doing the events,
Mhm.
after weekends, doing farmers markets and stuff like that prior to COVID. And then COVID happened, and I was still doing the whoopie pies and the flash sales and the treats and the cakes here and there. Um, but I was also still working from home generally. I was in and out of the office. But I feel like it was almost a forced upon me. But when you're doing the your own business with a regular job, you already have the foundation. So it's not the same as when you go, okay, I quit everything and I'm starting this thing.
Mhm.
Everything was already in place, for the business to be it. So it was a business. It just was something I did on the weekends and at night. But then after a while, with the story. I don't know they don't, but the short version of it is my mom. I'm here. I actually am here. I say this all the time. Market with a B wouldn't exist if my mother didn't need me because I was in Maryland. I'm only in Alabama because she needed me to come down here because of her
Mhm.
health. So that being said, she has health issues, and then my full-time job at that time was starting to. They wanted earlier. I just held out, but they were starting to have people come in. And you be in the office full time. All the different people that come in for counseling come in full time. All the time, just come
Mhm.
into the office. And I was like, this is still 2020. I was like, oh no, I can't do that because I have people at home that
Mhm.
have lung issues already, that I don't want to, cause an issue with. So, long story short, I had to make a decision, which was a very easy decision for me as to whether I continue working in that space and doing this job or whether I do this job only. And so the transition was a hey, okay, well, I'm gonna stop working here and then I'm gonna start doing this. So what happens is I the reigns, I guess is the word to say, of having a full-time job that you don't want to, cross over into with your hobby or,
Right.
part-time little thing you got going on. The issue is, when you're doing that, how I was, you don't want them to think I'm taking your time to do my job, my other thing. So now I don't have to worry about that. Now I can post whenever I want
Freedom.
because I couldn't post it certain times because I was working. I could
Mhm.
post whenever I want to. I could do so. It was almost a freeing thing. To
Amen.
everything was already in place for me to the business was a business. It was just now I get to focus fully on it. So
Right.
that's it. Just getting everything in place beforehand because you kind of need it for what I do. Alabama don't play about cottage food. They do not. Other places can, are a little lax, but not Alabama. So I had those things in place and just made the trend. Just start doing it full time. Start pushing it out there a little bit more. So
Amen.
it worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah, and you answered another question, that one of your wives was your mom. And I
Yes.
think so many times life situations position us to the place where our why matters more in that particular moment, and it shifts us into a place that God already wanted us to be.
Listen, you already know how I feel about all this now. I love the Lord. I know he knew when this was becoming a thing, when he said, you know how it goes, the
Mhm.
story. But when he said to do it, I was like, okay, I'm just thinking, hey, eventually it'll get to a point where I guess I'll need, it'll begin to show what I believe he set it out to do. Because it was just an idea at that
Right.
point. People liked it. The whoopie pies, I wasn't doing them big. I just,
Right.
had started out something. Anyway, Absolutely. It was already set. That's part of why I said it the way I said it. It was already in place for me to transition easily. All I had to do is now I can post anytime. Now I can bake all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I
And
can
she
say
did it. And she did it in such an excellently. I mean, excellent, uh, ex,
ex-
excellent. Well,
excellent.
excellent. She did it in
One of my
such
favorite
an
words.
excellent because, and the reason why I say that because I remember even when she was working, in her presentation, she had her labels. It wasn't like she just had them in an empty bag. She had her labels. She had, she represented like it was already her full-time business. So I
Yes.
believe that God just set an opportunity to expand her because now, to look at her now, so many years later,
Yeah.
how God has expanded you in different areas. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, and I don't believe in coincidences. So we have and we can go on for hours about this kind of stuff. But I have always, especially before I got back down here, I did a little traveling. I've been around a few places, and I love the presentation. The presentation is always there, and I feel like when God
Yes.
puts these little things that you don't think about, I just love to go to a fancy place, and I love to have it this way, and I love opening things and it be a whole big deal.
Mhm.
So that thing was already there with me.
Yes.
So now we get into okay, I get to actually package something. How do I want it? Well, I need it to look super fancy because not
Mhm.
that it's not a fancy thing. It can be very basic if I wanted it to be, and technically what it is a basic little,
The thing.
treat some people thought of ages ago.
Hmm.
And I just did it my own way. But I'm like, no, no, no. I want this treat to be able to go into a birthday party or a wedding. So how do I make that happen?
I
So
love it.
all of those things go into thought. But then that was deposited into me literally ages ago. So all of it just works out like we all say for your good. But anyway, transitioning into whoopie pies. So I'm doing a whoopie pies and people are doing more asking more cakes, and I'm going to tell you about me another thing that's been deposited in me. I love challenges. Nothing's too hard. I don't believe anything is too difficult, and that's another thing. I feel like I love challenge. Nothing's going to beat me. I'm like, God put it in me, I can do it.
Yes.
So I started, what I was doing at first is looking at cake orders because I was getting them, I just wasn't taking them all and going, God, that looks difficult. But I
Hmm.
had to begin to look at it with different eyes. Like, okay, break it down is how I do everything else. So then
Wow.
I begin, because people send pictures, which I love because that gives me an idea that we're both looking at the same thing, so I know what it's supposed to look like. But then I started getting those interesting themed cakes because at first, we were doing the red velvet, the key lime,
Yeah.
the peanut butter cakes, nothing super fancy. The
Mhm.
normal traditional cakes is what I call them. But I was still getting those themed cakes here and there. And I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Look at that. Woo, these people. These people think I can do anything. I used to say that.
I do.
Yep. And so I was like, if they believe I can do it, why can't I? Because God said, do this.
Hmm.
God said, do it. So I
Yeah.
said, I can do it. And I've always believed, and I teach my nieces and nephews, you can do anything. You got to get your mind in the place
Right.
to believe that. And then begin walking it. So then again, breaking it down, I start breaking down those pictures and I start realizing, okay, just take it in nuggets. If you don't look at the whole thing and go, this looks crazy, I look at the little pieces of it and go, okay, how to make this way, this way. And then now, well, you see some of the cakes that come through there. When I come through with the
Yes.
picture, if I look at the picture and go, oh my Lord, I don't anymore. I look at the picture and see the parts and then see.
Wow.
And I, I always say when I'm in the kitchen, sometimes God has to be tired of me. I know he gotta be like, girl, just do it. Cause I be in there talking to him. Like, Lord help me. Lord, help me, Lord. Let me figure this out, God, because sometimes it's a process. You get in there, you know the parts, but you still can't do it. Or you're having issues getting it to look the right way or getting it to fall the way you want it to. But yes, some nights I'm in there and I know he be like, "You got it, you got it. Just keep going." Okay, but that's it. Just realizing that you can't look at things in the whole, you have to look at the parts, and that anything is possible. So we went from the more basic cakes to the more advanced cakes and wedding cakes, which is stressful. It's still stressful because it's not that I can't do it, it's that I'm working with someone who doesn't know if I can do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes every now and then you get somebody who just like, girl, just do your thing. I know you got it. But then you get the ones who got the referral who ain't, maybe hadn't ordered anything else, and they're like very anxious. And so wedding cakes can be very stressful, but I do them now. So yeah, it's like just realizing that you can do anything. You can do anything you set your mind to. It's not too hard, and then going and doing it.
One thing we always talk about on becoming
Mhm.
is we talk about nuggets. And one of the nuggets I heard you say was look at the part, look
Mhm.
at the pieces, look at that. That was so powerful for me because so many times I think that we're overwhelmed of the big picture of life and situations, and we don't look at the piece that we got to do right then. Because
Yep.
just like a pie, we eat one piece at a time, eventually the whole pie is taken care of. But that's the
Exactly.
same thing with life. If we just take care of one piece at one time, if we just start, if we just push past the frustration moment and just keep going, then the whole puzzle, to me it's like you got to look at life like a puzzle. You take a little piece and a little piece and a little piece, and then eventually you got a whole picture. But when
Yeah.
we that was just so that was just so powerful for me because that's helping put things in perspective. Just look at a piece, look at that little area, and then realize how to do that. Then put
Yep.
another piece together, and then realize how to do that. Next thing you know, you got the whole cake done.
There you go. That's it. That's it. And that's how I look at almost a weekly, daily, process,
Yes,
especially the more difficult ones, or just the full days. Like, okay, just let me get this, baby steps. We got to take a step. We got to,
yes,
get into it sometimes. Because I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I am an A1 procrastinator. If I which is bad, but yes, I do. I procrastinate sometimes, and that's basically because it's about to be hard and you don't want to deal with it. I know exactly what, as a counselor in another world, I know exactly what the situation is. It's going to be time consuming. It's going to be difficult. You want to kind of put that feeling off. But that being said, yeah, I look at everything in bits and pieces, and you have to. That big picture will scare you every time and will make you feel a little bit like, whoo, but you can't look at the big picture. You got to look at the parts. Yeah.
yeah. Just like even me, in my other life when I was an entrepreneur. I mean, when I did event planning.
I about to say, you still an entrepreneur, I think.
when I did when I did event planning, and one of the things my specialty was treat tables. And I
Yes.
loved how you would always take, what I wanted or my vision and take it to the next level because it never matter what the theme was, no matter what, I mean, far as the cakes, the Rice Krispie
Cookie.
treats, the strawberries, or whatever, or the candy apples, that was my
Yes.
favorite. The candy apples, you would always take it to the next level. And people, I was able to operate in what I did best, which was placing them on the table to make them look amazing. But you would like put your full force in it. And if I come to you and I say, okay, this is my vision, this is what I think, you're like, okay, I can do this. What about changing this? And I just love that about you because you were adding, it's like you were adding flavor or adding icing to a cake to make it better. And I think so many times we pick people but we don't understand the fullness of the experience. And I've always had a good experience with you. Um, Even in the process of, we may have not understood something, but we got it together. And I
Oh
love that, to be able to connect with good people and to connect with people that can help you, you know, expand your vision and thoughts.
exactly.
Hey
Exactly.
guys, this is Transformational Thursday with Minister Kayla Shea. I am here to remind you of the promises of God. Listen, in Isaiah 26:3, he promised that he will keep us in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on him. You know why? Because we trust in him. So I'm encouraging you today, put all your trust in God. Put all your trust in Jesus. Lean not to your own understanding. There are things that you may not understand, but if you trust Him, He will lead you, He will guide you, and He will direct your path. That's a promise. Listen, I encourage you today, don't allow what you see to make you forget what God said. If He promised it, I'm telling you right now that He is sure to perform it. So listen, stay focused. Make sure that your main focus is to stay focused. Listen, don't get deterred by what you see. Don't get deterred by what you even feel or what you may even hear. Listen, keep your mind on Jesus. Keep your mind on the prize. Keep your mind on things that are pure. The Bible says, think on these things, thoughts that are pure, that are honest, that are just, of good report. So I don't care what report you may get. We believe the report of the Lord. Again, this is Transformational Thursday with Minister Kayla Shea. Stay focused and keep building.
Exactly. I agree. And one, I was holding because I'm like, I hope you're still doing the event planning because you were really good at it. Like that, I hope that's still in the bag. It's still something that you pull out or can pull out every now and then because you're
But
excellent.
definitely that, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm gonna tell you about me personally. If I can improve upon something and I'm given the leeway to do it, I'm gonna always look to do better. I,
Yes.
one of the things my customers never know, is, but they know in the end. They don't know it while it's going sometimes. But I'm
Right.
like, this will look a lot better. What I never do is go, okay, well, I just put 20 or 30 more dollars into this thing than they paid. I'm
Mhm.
like, well, okay, now you owe me 20 or 30 more. No,
Right.
I just wanted it to look as good as it could potentially look.
Right.
So, I felt like we go this way and then they go, oh my God. I'm like, yes, that's what I want. I want that thing where you're excited because it does look. So I think that everything I do is to see the people react. I
Yes.
used to love the farmers markets for that reason. I'm considering doing a in-person thing here coming up. I'm still thinking I haven't pulled the trigger, but I'm thinking about it because I miss just seeing the people try the whoopie pies and
Mhm.
I miss that interaction. I haven't done it since COVID. I have not been out there,
Wow.
with people
I'm
selling
glad I'm
something.
connected.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said, I'm glad I'm connected.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I love it. And right now, when you mentioned it, it made me think of it. I'm working with a person that does event planning, and I'm
Mhm.
like her sole treat person. And she
Mhm.
always says, "Oh no, me and you," because I promise you, Q, she don't give me much, but I might know shower and the color,
See, I
and
understand.
when I walk in there with them treats, or she pick them up, or however the case may be, it's
Yeah.
exact. And I promise you, that ain't nothing but God.
Yeah, listen, I know I'm a witness
You got
because it,
everything right. And I'm like, yeah.
it's so amazing to me how I can give you an ideal and I can and this is the thing. Let's tap into this while we're talking.
Mhm.
Um I think people underestimate the power of connecting with other entrepreneurs because you don't have to do everything. I'm not trying to take your money, you're not trying to take my money, but in
Mhm.
the end is that when we come together, you're taking your time, and you're making the event the best that you can
Absolutely.
with the treats. And I'm taking my time and doing the best I can with the setup, so it makes both of us look good. Because one thing about it is, I'm always, when I did do it, I'm always promoting who was buying. I'm not trying to take credit for the treats, because I feel like it's a power in promoting other people, and it's a power in promoting what other people are doing. Because
Right.
this is the thing, that's a connection. You
Mhm.
know, on the other end, you could be like, okay, well, yeah, I did this treat, but look how she set this table up.
Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so that's just, to me, I've always believed in that. Even when I started building Q's Touch, I built Q's Touch in the thing of connecting with other people to make this event the best.
Right.
Because I can't be everywhere.
It's what it's all about. And when people started to realize that we're not in competition with, there's space at the table for everyone. If it was deposited in your spirit to do this thing, then there's space for you. As they say, your gift is going to make room for you there. So it don't matter how many people. I'm sure I saw this somewhere. Now I always see it, but I agree. How many people make cereal? How many people make bread, ice cream?
There's
There's
a lot.
millions of people, or quite a lot, not millions, but of doing the same thing. But there's room for each one of them, because somebody wants just that one, or
Exactly.
somebody wants that one, and I might try this one, but this is my favorite. So you can't be like, oh well, I don't want to do this or that because of competition. There is no the only competition I have is me.
I say that a lot. I say that a lot. The
That's
only
it.
person I'm trying to be better is than the better of me. I'm
That's
trying to
it.
be better than the person I was last time, or last week, or last, because it's a power in owning that. Because when I start getting in your lane, then I get out my lane, and favor and grace is in my lane. So why would I move out of my lane and leave my favor and grace to compete with you? Like, I
Exactly.
ain't got no power without favor and grace. I have no power.
Exactly. And I'm gonna tell you, I even have people who do what I do that ask me questions and ask advice. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it, because who am I? I'm gonna be okay. I'm not worried about it. I want you to succeed. I'm honored that you feel like I'm the person to come to with a question.
Right.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna answer that question to the best of my abilities. And I want to see you succeed. I get every now and then, hey, what do you think about this? I love it. I love it. If there's any notes to give, I'll give it. But I want success. I wish everyone success. But yeah, these people, I think, don't get what they have coming to them in a positive way, because they refuse
On.
to bring the right people in that circle because of whatever reason it is. But you be missing blessings, being worried about somebody else's success when, in the bad way. When
That's
that's
it.
not the thing. We need to get
I
together,
go,
brainstorm a thing, bring that person in, because they can do it. They're good at it, and they're gonna make you look better, and everybody wins.
listen.
But that's how it is. I don't mind it though.
Listen,
Yeah.
that's it. So, okay, so you talked about cakes. You
Mhm,
talked about your transition with cakes and transition to other things.
mhm.
It's so many. I mean, we can't even probably name everything that you do. But one
Any
one of the things that you do that you don't talk about much, that me and my son love, is what they call bomb.
Oh, those the hot chocolate cocoa.
Yes, they give
Yes,
such an experience, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love tapping into your treats, is because they give a experience. And for you that do not know what I'm talking about,
you got
it's
this.
these, like, these bombs. They're, she got big and small,
Yes.
and you put them in hot milk, right?
Hmm.
You put them in hot milk, and you sit them on top, and they just burst open, and it has like cocoa in the middle. I don't know what else, marshmallows or whatever.
Marshmallows. It depends on the flavor.
Right, the flavor, because she got one with some peppermint
Yeah,
tips,
the
and is listen, and me and my son, we bond over these
oh,
sweets, um,
that's so sweet.
because we'll be like, "Mom, what yours turn into?" We like, we know, and we'll sit there and watch a movie. So please, check her out. Mark
Yes.
Whoopie on Facebook, and we're gonna get to that later. But I'm just saying, if you want to experience, if you want to add something to your private time at home, you don't even have to throw an big event. But if you want to add some of your private time at home, or you just want a good treat, like her Rice Krispies. Oh, listen,
Yeah, I could just listen to you. You are like a billboard. Thank you.
listen, I am telling the truth because I introduced one of my friends into the Rice Krispies, and her and her husband love them. So
Thank you. Thank
but
you.
it's just an experience that you will, I mean, that you just won't forget. And
Thank
we talk about life. To me, life should be about experiences that you remember, moments that you encounter. Thank you for supporting Becoming. I know that you have enjoyed this episode, and we look for you for next time. But remember, caring is sharing. So share us with someone that needs to be encouraged or inspired, an entrepreneur or a person that is wanting to become an author. We are so excited and ecstatic about you spending this time with us. We definitely don't take it lightly. My name is Quinona Gifford, and I am your podcast host. And until next time, become who God needs you to be. Love you now.